going back, and I know you've gotten this question throughout your career, but when you take it back to, and I'm asking this because I just interviewed everyone from Idol, and it's on now, and they're doing it amazing, by the way, having to do it virtually. Have you watched yet?
Not yet, but that does sound fascinating. I'm curious to see how that works out.
It's doing it from their homes, and it's
yeah. I mean, bravo to Idol for figuring it out. I mean, this is what it's a time of problem solving and getting creative and figuring out ways to stay connected to your audience. And I think it's motivated by a greater purpose now than it usually is. You know, people need escape right now more than ever. People need an outlet for their anxiety. They need to like invest in something. So, you know, I'm really hopeful to see how Idol works out through all that. I think it should be fascinating, you know, and it'll probably launch a different type of performer. You know, I think, you know, there's a certain skill to perform in front of a live audience on camera. There's also a real skill, and I just found this out the hard way, of like having to really sell a performance in a room in your house for your phone.
Yeah.
It's totally different. So it'll be really interesting to see how this affects things.
Now you're hanging out. My quarantine situation is I'm single, I'm alone, and I'm gonna have to shake a cocktail by myself. But what is your situation? How are you?
Same, I'm single, very single. I'm lucky though that I do have roommates here, like I said. So it's like a family vibe here. You know, they've been very, I'm very lucky that I have people in the house. Besides the dog.
Adam, once this is over, we have to go like find people.
Yeah, I know.
I'm ready.
I know. I'm gonna have to like join Tinder or something like now. I'll start now. I'll book the dates, like line them up. It's like a bank, like a date bank.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah, exactly. You have a list like, oh, he was nice. I talked to him one day. Okay. Next.
It seems like in quarantine, you are one of those people who are just so busy still.
Yeah, I'm very lucky. I have an amazing team, and they are very motivating. Because for the first couple weeks, I was like, oh, I don't want to do anything. This is crazy. It's weird. And I have found that getting involved and working has been a real medicine for me, you know, to get out of the anxiety of having to stay inside.
And I love hearing this, that you guys re-recorded, you flipped it. We Are the Champions too.
Yeah.
You are the champions. How did you guys decide on that? Who made that decision?
That was this idea came from Brian May to approach it this way. He was on a streak of recording a lot of great material on his Instagram. Did a version of We Are the Champions, and then sent it to Roger to lay a drum part down. They sent it to me, and they sent me a suggestion. Why don't we change the lyric from We Are the Champions to You Are the Champions, and dedicate this to all the frontline workers that are out there risking their lives in the most brave manner possible and fighting this fight. So I, of course, jumped at the opportunity. We've never recorded anything like this before. We've actually never put out an official recording before as a trio.
Okay.
So this is a first of many layers, and I just feel like this is the reason to do it. You know, to change the lyrics of such an iconic song, this warrants that type of change. And you know, we wouldn't be where we are without these frontline workers and without the WHO, who all the funds of this track that we're going to raise are going to go to. So, you know, everyone's doing their part, and I'm very happy to be a part of it and to raise money for this organization.
Well, everyone's very grateful for what you guys are doing. I feel like music continually shows us that people can be together, whether we're not. It just brings people together. And I feel like Queen being so iconic, something about the fans and the base of people, even the newcomers that are coming on, they all feel united. Yeah.
And that's the thing that's really interesting about this whole crisis, is that even though it's scary and it's you know, there's this negative force that we're all having to combat, it is connecting people. It is bringing us together because it's a shared experience. We are all going through this all over the world. And it's unprecedented. You know, I don't think the last pandemic was the Spanish flu. So this is something that many of us have never experienced. None of us have experienced before. And I think the silver lining here, the thing that we can take away from this once the fight is fought, is that we did it together, you know, and we did it via the human spirit. And all these people on the front lines, it takes caring about other people to fight this thing, you know. So the shared experience is unprecedented, and I hope that people, I hope that we have more empathy after this thing is over, you know.
Absolutely. Me too. It's like when you go outside, I smile at every single person I can look at. I'm just like, hi, how are you?
Yeah. When I walk the dog, it's like the acknowledgement, you know. Some of it's just eye contact because we got our masks on, you know. It's like, But it's amazing, you know. You know, hopefully we get this thing under control. I think we are getting there. I think there's a lot of good steps being taken, and I think that we're going to learn a lot, all of us, about each other, about ourselves. Yeah, it's an amazing time to kind of focus on what really matters as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For the song, knowing that it's being reworked, you guys, obviously amazing. We haven't seen a visual yet. There is a visual?
Yes, there is a visual. We worked with our director of video, who we work with on tour. Okay. He's incredible. His name's Simon, and he does amazing work for us in our live shows. And he put together a really beautiful montage to accompany it. And it really strikes a chord. I think people will be very moved by it.
So you guys actually are using pieces from performing together?
No, I don't want to reveal too much, but it's really about, it's not about us. This is about the frontline workers, you know, and so the video reflects that.
I love that so much. Yeah. We're looking forward to seeing it.
Thank you.
I know a lot of people were looking forward to tour dates. Obviously, those things aren't happening. Knowing that you can't be there, you know, out in front with the fans, how good has it been, the reaction for actually just, I'm sure you're getting more involved online too as well. Just talking.
Yeah, I mean, this is the new normal, and everyone's adjusting, you know, and finding ways to connect. I think that's super important right now. And you know, performers, that's what we do. We connect with an audience. So we're just having to change the tools with which we do that. Obviously, even recording this song, you know, Brian and Roger and I are used to doing this in front of thousands of people, and that charges it with a certain type of energy. So having to kind of summon that by looking at this blank white wall behind me was tricky, but I just kept imagining, okay, if I were a nurse, a doctor, a volunteer, somebody that's part of the fight right now, what would help me? You know, what would help me feel stronger and appreciated?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, you guys, have you heard anything, or do you know of a rescheduling for the tour, or we're just going to wait for now?
Yeah, we announced, everything's been pushed a year. So, yeah, it's already been announced. We're doing all the stuff that we're supposed to do next year in Europe and the UK is all pushed 1 year later. Hopefully everything will be under control by then. And until then, we'll just keep connecting via technology, which is amazing. It's amazing what we can do now on our phones.
Yeah.
Imagine going through this and not having like FaceTime or social media, you know, it's like, how would we function?
Absolutely. Well, speaking of functioning at home, I was like, do I dress up, or do I? Because I know you always come ready. Okay. Like,
yeah, it's been interesting too, because I think part of surviving the quarantine, and I know I'm not alone in this, is like giving yourself permission to not care is really important. You know, like I don't shower certain days. I'm eating and drinking whatever the hell I want because it's quarantine. You know, everyone has their own version of self-care. Some people are like getting really healthy, and bravo, not me.
Forget about it. Who needs it?
I say screw it, eat, do whatever makes you feel comfortable and safe. For me, it's like making a cocktail and calling a friend, you know, like that's keeping me sane. So
whatever you got to do.
Yeah. Even if you're drinking the cocktail at 9 a.m., it's whatever. It's okay.
I mean, if it should be like noon somewhere else, whatever.
Exactly.
And the stage presence that you bring when you, like I said, you always come ready. You bring it not just vocally, performance-wise, but again, the fashion. And you are working on something right now with that, where you're donating some of your pieces.
Yeah, yeah. I have a foundation that I just started at the end of last year. We're still getting it all organized and off the ground. It's called the Feel Something Foundation. The idea is for it to support LGBTQ causes, particularly youth homelessness, mental health and suicide prevention, and arts education as well, outreach type activities for the creative arts. You know, we wanted to do something during this time because everyone's affected by COVID-19 unilaterally, and queer people have particular needs that are being, you know, that are coming up during this time. So I was cleaning out one of my closets as a thing to do during quarantine, and I was like, I got all these stage costumes and outfits that I've worn on the carpet and whatnot, and I don't have anything to do with these things. I want to get out, I want to get rid of them. And I thought, you know what, I know I have fans that would probably dig some of these pieces.
Yeah.
So we figured out how to do it, and we partnered with eBay to do an online auction, and all of the proceeds are going to go directly to GLAAD. And GLAAD's an LGBTQ organization that have been amazing in advocating for equal rights, particularly in the media. They've done incredible work over the years, and they'll be able to really help people during this time and beyond.
I love that so much. I know I saw some things in there, so I see, and I love what you're doing. I love that you are giving back. I appreciate every single person that I've talked to so far that's in the industry and doing things even outside, whether it be sports or music. I love that everyone's coming together and trying to figure out a plan.
Absolutely. It's important. It's very important. I think this is the great equalizer, this thing, you know, whether you're, you know, in New York or LA, or you live in a house or an apartment, like everyone's at risk here. So we really have to look out for each other.
Absolutely. I want to give you a quote from Billboard, because we know the fourth studio album this past March, the Velvet, right?
Yes.
Billboard said, most ambitious musical era to date, and it only will leave fans wondering how on earth the star plans on topping it.
Oh, that's sweet.
Those are amazing words. When you hear something like that from Billboard, what goes through your mind, or what are the feels?
I feel good. You know, this was a labor of love. You know, I started working on this music from this album about 4 years ago. I really took my time. I wanted to find a sound and a style that felt authentic, that wasn't overly obsessed with what's trendy right now, but doing something that means something to me. And all the sounds on this and the concepts on the album are all real to me. You know, they're a reflection of my life, and sort of the music that made me want to be a musician. So I had to sort of defy the odds. You know, I changed up my team, my label, and put this out with an independent label because I really wanted to get it out there. And it wasn't all the way easy. It was challenging. And so to have people enjoy the album and to see how it's being received is a real payoff. I'm very proud of it.
I know also in the opening track on there, you say, I've been feeling, and I just want to make sure I get these quotes right, I've been feeling nostalgic. I guess with that, and then seeing what you've done with Queen and how their story played out and is still playing out with you as the frontman, does that kind of have something to do with you saying, let me take my time and really hone in after seeing everything that you've done with them and how they work?
Yeah, I think working with Queen has definitely rubbed off, you know, on me as a musician, as a performer, and as a person. You know, working with Brian and Roger so closely over the last 9 years, I've learned a lot from them. You know, they have legendary status, you know, and I'm a nerd. You know, I'm a student of the past. I love looking back on music from like the 70s, the 80s, fashion, film, pop culture in general. I love studying different periods, and, you know, I'm a dork that way, but this album is sort of like my homage to that period and that style.
Being at home right now and knowing that you again, for me, it's surreal. If someone were to tell me I'm the front person, I'm now working with Queen. I mean, you've been doing it for so many years now, but again, I'm sure a dream of yours come true to be in this position and to be able to do things independently right now and put it out. That's a hard
Yeah.
decision for artists as well at any point in their career. So congratulations on all
Thank
of
you.
knowing he originally pinned "We Are the Champions," and here you are doing a different version for a cause, because they were all about the causes as well.
Yeah.
What do you think he would say?
Freddie.
Yeah.
I always think about Freddie. You know, I always think, you know, what would he be like? How would he feel about all this? You know, and I always try to like hold his memory up very, very high. And I always sort of ask myself when I make decisions regarding my involvement with Queen, between how to sing a song, what I'm wearing on stage, everything in between, I always think, what would Freddie do? What would Freddie enjoy this? Like, would he give it his stamp of approval? Would he get a kick out of this? And over the years, one of the things that I've loved hearing from Brian and Roger as they've gotten to know me very well, and I gotten to know them very well, is they say, you know, I think you guys would get on. That's what they always say to me. They're like, you would make each other laugh, and I think that you would find playful interaction. They think that we would understand each other. And that means the world to me, because my goal in doing these songs with Queen over the years is not to replace Freddie, it's not to imitate Freddie, but it's sort of to suggest his spirit. You know what I mean? It's like he injected not only his talent and his musicality into all these songs, but his vibe. And he was amazing, and he was funny, and he was charismatic, and he was dramatic, and all that stuff. So to be able to get that type of feedback is really nice.